You know, rarely do I cover the same topics in both my podcasts, the 47 Daily and Kaye Saves the Republic, but I have to be honest with you. This Comey chaos is just crazy. This is just atrocious, deplorable insanity. I can't believe it. I mean, I can believe it, but I also can't believe it. It's one of those unbelievable things that I totally believe. And that's what happens with the left this time around. The lunatics on the left have become so unhinged, so totally deranged, so beside themselves with hatred for President Donald Trump. I can't even comprehend. And it's not just like the blue-haired, crazy, tattooed, pierced, lesbian, LGBTQ, I don't know what I am, protesters that are pro-Palestinian and anti-Israel and Hamas, whatever, all that stuff. Not just them. There's people you walk down the street and they're yelling, kill Trump and destroy Trump and 86-47 and all that. And you understand, you understand those kind of people. Yeah, it kind of goes with the whole mold. But James Comey was the director of the FBI, and he is acting like one of these crazed street thugs who you would see outside of any kind of government building screaming and yelling some kind of horrific and really stupid and really lame anti-Trump stuff. And it's amazing because, again, this is a guy who was one of the lead law enforcement agents in the entire world. I mean, as director of the FBI, that's a powerful position. That is a very powerful position. This is the guy you may remember who a lot of people claim kept Hillary out of the White House. This is the guy who turned his back on President Donald Trump, kept secret notes about their meetings, and tried to sink him again with some dishonest manipulation. And now he's just out there going, yeah, you know what we should do? We should just get rid of the guy. We should just 86 him. It's time, which, by the way, I've seen a debate as to what 86 actually means. And we'll get to that too, because I think, listen, let's just say there's a lot we have to cover today. Before we do, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're liking and you're sharing and you're telling everybody that you know that you like this show and that you think they would like it too, and all that kind of good stuff. Also, since it's Friday, payday, it's time to get paid. I'm just kidding. It's payday. So if you're getting paid today, or if you got paid today, share the love with your favorite independent journalist. Hopefully that's me, and I will shout you out if you are. In fact, let me just let everybody know right now. I'm starting the goal on YouTube. We're looking for 20 super chats today. 20 super chats, and if we get 20 super chats, not only will we shout out what you say, but we'll hit our goal. We're looking for Rumble Rants, and if you're on Facebook, we fixed the stars feature, so you can send as many stars as your little heart desires, and every single dime that we make goes right back into this show. Every penny that you send into the show means that we can continue to do this show every single day, in the morning, in the afternoon, content galore. So we thank you again for all your support. And if you can't share a super chat, if you can't share a Rumble Rant, if you can't send us some stars, then what you can do is just continue to watch. And like I said, spread the good word about Kaye Saves the Republic. All right, I guess we should look. We're just going to jump into this Comey thing because it is just crazy. It is just so bad. I want to pull this one clip though from Peter Doocy, because Peter Doocy was interviewed about it. Everyone was talking about this. I mean, this broke yesterday. The first person I saw post about it was Laura Loomer, of course. And then it was Don Jr. Don Jr. posted, nothing to see here, just, the FBI director casually calling for my father to be murdered. Don Jr. has he's got a real flair for words. But here's Laura Loomer's post. She posted, it was a repost of James Comey. Again, James Comey was the former FBI director, now disgraced, now even more disgraced after this. And he posted a photo of some shells on the beach. Now, he says in his little thing here, he says here in the little caption, cool shell formation on my beach walk. And it doesn't stipulate whether or not he's the one that made, pardon me while I drop my phone. It doesn't stipulate whether or not he's the one who made the cool shell formation or if he just stumbled upon it, but he just wrote cool shell formation on my beach walk. And the shell formation is numbers 86, 47, 86, 47. And now there's some debate as to what that means. 86 to most people means kill. execute, eliminate, that kind of thing. Some people say that it means, you know, you're at a restaurant and there's no more of the fish special, so you 86 it, which is true. But I think for the most part, everybody knows that 86 means, especially in this scenario, kill 47. And 47 is President Donald Trump. 86-47. This is a threat to assassinate the President of the United States. We don't know if he put the threat on the beach or if he took a photo of it, but we do know that he posted it on his Instagram and wrote, "Cool shell formation on my beach walk." Well, Laura Loomer reposted it. Don Jr. reposted it. Everybody started reposting it. And pretty soon, wouldn't you know it, James Comey was in too deep. He was basically, I mean, it was over for him. James Comey was so, I mean, people were, not one person was coming to his defense. Not one person was saying, "Oh, wow, that's funny. Oh, wow, look at what James Comey's doing. Ha, ha, ha." Also, who's following James Comey on Instagram? I guess Laura Loomer and Don Jr. But anyway, he instantly took it down and wrote, "I posted a picture earlier of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down." Now, this is weird for a couple of reasons. First of all, he wrote, "I assumed it was a political message." It was a political, that's a safe assumption because that's exactly what it was. It was a political message. The political message was, hey, let's kill the president. Hey, let's assassinate Donald Trump. Hey, we didn't do it the first 2 times. Let's do it the third. Third time's a charm. That was the political message that somebody was sending on the beach. And James Comey posted it on his Instagram. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. Really? Really? You didn't do it? You were the head of the FBI? You were a prosecutor in Los Angeles County? You've been a lawyer working in law enforcement for, gosh, probably your entire career? You didn't know that 86 was something that the mafia and that gang members and that just all around people? You've never seen a movie? You never saw like a Jack Nicholson movie where he says, let's 86 somebody? It's a very common term. Everybody knows what 86 means. It means bury it. It's dead. It's gone. Eliminate it. There's no more. 8647 sends a clear message that you would think the former director of the FBI would know about. So either he's an idiot or he's lying, probably both. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. What did he think it meant? What did he think 8647 meant if he didn't know that? I mean, look at what he posted here. He goes, "I posted a picture earlier of some shells I saw on a beach walk. I assumed it was a political message. I didn't realize some folks associated it with violence." What did he think they associate? What did he think it was? If it wasn't a violent message against the president of the United States, what possibly could it have been? What other message would he have gotten from 8647 that he thought it would be cool to post on his Instagram? He never actually answers that question. A bunch of people started immediately. Tulsi Gabbard was one of the first. She was on with Jesse Waters, and Tulsi Gabbard was asked about this, and she, being the director of national intelligence, had quite a bit to say.
Tulsi Gabbard's the director of national intelligence. Are you buying that the former FBI director didn't know what 86 Trump meant?
Absolutely not, Jesse. That is a ridiculous and insane statement to make, certainly within this context, but especially coming from a guy who's the former director of the FBI, a guy who spent most of his career prosecuting mobsters and gangsters, people who know and execute other humans and use this exact lingo of 86. Comey himself admitted in his follow-on message that he knew that this was a political statement. Well, the only reason he knew that, Jesse, was because a little over a month ago, a bunch of anti-Trump, anti-Elon Musk protesters were proliferating the use of this 8647 slogan, which was a veiled call to action to murder the sitting president of the United States. So for Comey to think that we, the American people, are so stupid as to think that he, as a former FBI director, former prosecutor, and someone who clearly pays attention to what's going on, would believe his lie that he didn't know what this actually was calling for. The dangerousness of this, Jesse, cannot be underestimated. When we have 2 assassination attempts on the president's life, when we have people who look to guys like Comey, who've been celebrated by MSNBC and the Democrat elite and CNN as the beacon of integrity, the law and order guy, the guy who would tell the truth no matter what the consequences. This is the guy who's issuing a hit on President Trump, the president that the American people voted for. So it's guys like Comey and others who call the president the modern day Nazi, people who are in great positions of influence, who are saying that President Trump poses an existential threat to our country. These are people who hate democracy and hate the American people because they cannot stand that the people overwhelmingly chose to elect Donald Trump and send him back to the White House. So they are seeking other means to get their way and to try to remove him from that position.
Okay, so Tulsi Gabbard sums it up pretty well there, and she's very, very passionate about it, but she's 100% right. There's no way this guy didn't know what it meant. Also, I'd like you to think about this. If James Comey, who has been heralded as probably one of the worst and most corrupt FBI directors we've ever had, at least in recent history, if James Comey has no problem saying, let's kill the president when he's not the FBI director, what kind of stuff do you think he was doing when he was the FBI director? If he has no problem posting on Instagram, death to Trump, what kind of stuff was he doing behind the scenes or in the, in the dark of night when he was FBI director? How bad was it under this guy? This is, don't forget about Lisa Strzok and Strzok and Page, all those kinds of things. This was James Comey's FBI when all of this was going on. Andy McCabe, all that. So this guy was an FBI director for like 10 years. And now he's saying, you know what? This is a cool shell formation that suggests we should assassinate President Donald Trump. I'm going to post it on my Instagram, and then I'm going to claim that I have no idea what it means. Peter Doocy also talked about, Peter Doocy brought it up, and Peter Doocy explained it in a way that I thought was different than what it is. Listen to what Peter Doocy said.
This very serious topic is that James Comey wants us to believe, and we have this photo here, that he saw a cool, these are his words, cool shell formation on my beach walk. And the cool shell formation, according to the person who used to be in charge of the FBI, shows shells in the shape of 8647. 86 is common restaurant lingo, of course, for denying service to somebody. But after about 30 seconds of Googling, you can see that a good chunk of people all around the world also associate 86 with meaning to kill somebody. An old mob saying, basically, you take somebody 8 miles outside of town and then you put them 6 feet in the ground.
Okay, now this is where I've heard both of these, but I've heard them differently. For example, I worked in the restaurant industry for years. For years, I was a waiter, I was a server, I was a manager. I worked in the restaurant industry from college till forever, it seemed. And I always thought 86 was, we always used 86 when we were talking about, like, for example, when we were talking about, for example, a special. Like the chef would say, okay, we've got 20 orders of the halibut special with the cherry tomatoes and the and the beurre blanc. I don't know what it was, but after that, we're gonna 86 them. So what would happen is you'd keep, someone would order the halibut special, you'd go in, you'd have to mark it on the board, and when you got to 20, you'd say, chef, halibut coming in, and then the chef would say, that's the last one, 86 it, and then you'd go around and you'd say to all those waiters, 86 the halibut. And then that meant nobody else could sell the halibut special. And every now and then you'd have that awkward moment where 2 halibuts were coming in at the same time. And then you'd have to go back out and say, I'm so sorry. While I was putting in your order, the last one sold. And then they'd be disappointed and they'd take it out on you with your tip. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But that's what 86, I didn't know it meant don't serve somebody, but I guess it could. Maybe if they're too drunk, you're like, hey, you're 86th. We're not going to give you any more booze because you're already like, vomiting on yourself. We're going to call you a cab. And then the thing about the mafia, I always thought 86, and what I heard was that it was the dimensions of a grave, 8 feet wide, 6 feet deep. That's what I thought it meant. I thought 86 came from the dimension. You dig a grave and it's 8 feet wide and it's 6 feet deep and you throw the body in. I'd never heard the 8 miles out of the city and throw them in a hole 6 feet deep. But I mean, I guess I'm not a member of the mob either. Maybe Peter Doocy knows something I don't.
James Comey, again, a guy who has prosecuted mobsters, apparently had no idea that this was a thing. He deleted the original post with the cool shell formation, and he writes, I posted a picture earlier of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, and I took the post down. That's not enough for Donald Trump Jr. He says, just James Comey casually calling for my dad to be murdered. This is who the Dem media worships. Demented. And Kash Patel, as we were coming to air, the new FBI director, one of Comey's successors, is saying that he is in touch with the Secret Service, and they are going to be sending Secret Service agents to talk to.
Yeah, so they're sending Secret Service agents. I don't know why that.
Very serious topic.
I don't know why that cut off. But they're sending Secret Service agents with, Director Curran to investigate James Comey. They're basically, now they have to go, the FBI and the Secret Service, get this, have to go and investigate the former FBI director because he threatened the president's life. I mean, it's really wild. Now, President Donald Trump is back from the UAE. He's back from the Arab world. He's back from, I'll be honest with you, this Middle East trip was amazing. And what we should be doing today is we should be celebrating this incredible and really wild Middle Eastern trip where President Donald Trump built bridges with Qatar and Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, and he brought in trillions and trillions of dollars in investment. But we're not. We're talking about James Comey, wanting him dead. And here's President Donald Trump speaking with Brett Baer yesterday. Brett Baer had an interview with him scheduled and asked him about it. Here's what he said.
He knew exactly what that meant. A child knows what that meant. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that meant assassination. And it says it loud and clear. Now, he wasn't very competent, but he was competent enough to know what that meant. And he did it for a reason, and he was hit so hard. Because people like me, and they like what's happening with our country. Our country has become respected again, and all this. And he's calling for the assassination of the president.
Obviously, he apologized and said he doesn't.
Well, he
wasn't
apologized
calling for violence. But
look, he's a very bad.
What do you want to see happen?
What
do you want to see happen?
I don't want to take a position on it because that's going to be up to Pam and all of the great people. But I will say this: I think it's a terrible thing. And when you add his history to that, if he had a clean history, he doesn't. He's a dirty cop. He's a dirty cop. And if he had a clean history, I could understand if there was a leniency, but I'm going to let them make that decision.
Donald Trump saying, look, he was a dirty cop. He was a first of all, he was a dirty cop. He was a bad cop. And so I'm not going to say anything, but he's had a history of being an evil dude. And this is definitely something that the Justice Department, Pam Bondi and the DOJ, they're going to look into this. They're going to make their decisions. They're going to work with Secret Service, and they're going to work with the FBI. But I have to tell you, this is the direct result of a massive escalation of violence and violent rhetoric that we've seen coming again from the Democrats. This is and there's just no movement on it. It's just so slow. When James Comey posts something like this, or look at LaMonica McIver and the rest of these idiots last week who went to the detention center in Newark and attacked ICE agents. They body slammed ICE agents. These are members of Congress. Literally nothing has happened to them. Nothing has happened to them. Mike Johnson, I don't know, he posed some veiled threat. He said, we'll look into it. We'll do this. We'll do that. They're still on their committee. They're at home now. They're on vacation. There's no Congress today. Congress was gavelled out of session. This morning, the Budget Committee was meeting, but when they failed to move President Donald Trump's budget forward, they left. And LaMonica McIver's gone. Laura Loomer sent one of her people after LaMonica McIver, which I love this about Congress, that people can just walk right up to these Congress people and harass them.
Good morning, Congresswoman. We issue a heartfelt apology for assaulting that ICE agent outside Newark the other day. Do you think it's appropriate behavior for members of Congress to assault ICE agents? Are you sure you wouldn't like to apologize for your assault, Congresswoman?
Look, everybody's asking her. Everyone's got microphones in front of her face. And this is something about Congress. These are offices. Like what they're walking by right here. Look at these. See this with the flags? That is, whose office is that? It's some liberal. William something or other. Anyway, these are just offices. What people don't realize is it's an office building. And you can walk right into the congressional office building. You can walk right into these people's faces and you can ask them these questions like, hey, do you think it's appropriate to be assaulting an ICE agent? Do you think it's appropriate to trespass on federal property? Do you think it's appropriate to attack people who are trying to deport illegal aliens who are guilty of all these horrible crimes? Do you think that's cool? Is that what do you have an apology? Would you like to issue an apology? But what we're seeing now is we're seeing this escalation. It's happening in Congress with Monica McIver. So many. That's such a pretentious name. It's happening with Chuck Schumer. It's happening with the idiots who fly down to El Salvador. It's happening with all of the anti-Trump and Elon protests where the 8647 first originated. And now the former director of the FBI, a guy who basically dedicated his entire career to fighting crime, is advocating for an assassination of the president of the United States. MSNBC, Willie Geist on MSNBC, he had a guest on, I don't know who the dude is, but listen to this because this is an interesting take. And while they're not openly praising James Comey for this, they're not actually chastising him either, but listen to their opinion as to why James Comey did what he did.
47, took a photo, posted it, didn't realize it would be interpreted as a call to violence. Of course, President Trump survived that assassination attempt last summer. There was another assassination plot against him not long after. Some people, you could make the case, are arguing here in bad faith because of the way the president and others feel about James Comey. But how do you see this playing out?
Well, we should remind Dina and Gabbard, of course, that Comey would have to be convicted before he went to prison. I mean, look, this is a stupid thing that he did, clearly. I think there's certainly a lot of faux outrage here. But to be fair, if it had gone the other way and then someone had posted 8646 about President Biden, there would be some on the left who would be angry as well. We heard from FBI Director Kash Patel that they're going to be investigating it. You already read a number of Trump officials who said they would as well. It's hard to know whether or not there'll be a there. I mean, Comey took the post down immediately. He apologized. It is still surprising to me that he is so disliked on the right, considering the role he helped play in Donald Trump's original election in 2016. But this is certainly, for those, in Magosphere who want to talk about something else, who want to be angry about something, James Comey provided a convenient target for them right now, and they're happy to do it. We should also note that after this, Willie, this brouhaha with the social media post, Comey went back on social media later today to promote his new book, which is coming out in the next few weeks.
All right, we'll see where this goes from here.
Oh, look at that. He's promoting a book. Of course he's promoting a book. Who isn't promoting a book? You got books all over. Jake Tapper's promoting a book. James Comey's promoting a book. This is the post, by the way. So here's James Comey's Instagram. Somewhere in here was the post of the seashells. Here he is actually on the beach reading his new book, FDR Drive. I imagine this was taken just either before or after his now infamous beach walk where he stumbled upon that very interesting shell formation. But here he is reading his book, prepping for release of a great beach read next Tuesday. Here's a little bit more about his book that he posted after he threatened the life of the president. James Comey, FDR Drive. Former FBI Director James Comey reunites the protagonists of his first two legal thrillers for his strongest outing yet. Blah, 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 blah. This isn't, by the way, any kind of documentary fiction. This isn't any kind of, expose on Joe Biden like Jake Tapper's book. This is purely fiction. This is all just made up. And James Comey is trying to, I guess, in his third chapter or his next chapter, become a novelist, pun totally intended. That's his goal in life. So he goes out on the beach with his book. He sits down. He goes, hey, I got a beach read coming out next week. And by the way, 8647, which means kill President Donald Trump. And oh yeah, by the way, here's where you can buy my book. Oh, wait, what? You didn't like the post about 86ing the president? All right, I'm so sorry. I posted earlier a photo of some shells, which I assumed was a political message. I didn't realize, wink, wink, that some folks associate those numbers with violence. Buy my book anyway. This is not the right way to sell a book, by the way. Trust me, I know. I've sold books. I sold lots of books. See this book? I sold thousands of copies of this book, and I never threatened anybody's life by doing it. If you want to sell books, I can tell you how to sell books. This is not the way to sell a book. In fact, I have a brand new YouTube channel, by the way, Mark Kaye Marketing. If you want to learn how to sell books or bobbleheads or whatever it is you're selling, somebody send this to James Comey, because this is all, these videos are all, it's all the information I've learned about marketing online, marketing with social media, creating products for your market, selling products for your market, merchandising. See this hat? You know how many of these hats I've sold? A lot. You know how many presidents' lives I've threatened while selling them? 0. Nor would I ever. Threatening the life of a president so that you can get clicks on your Amazon.com book website link is bad. That is not what you're supposed to do. That's the lowest of the low. Jake Tapper, we talked about his book. Jake Tapper is a horrible person. We get it. But at least he's not killing anybody. Jake Tapper, I wouldn't trust him. Jake Tapper, you can't tell him anything because he'll turn on you in a heartbeat. If Jake Tapper is your friend today, he will sell you down the river next week for a book deal. But at least he's not threatening the life of the President of the United States. I'm just curious to see if anybody's buying this book. FDR Drive, James Comey, pre-order. Book 3 of 3 in the Nora Carlton. I don't even know. It's not on the bestseller list. Free release. This title will be released on May 20th. So he's going up against Jake Tapper, and he's probably getting his butt whooped by Jake Tapper. And as a result, he's like, God, what can I do? What can I do? In fact, let's look at Jake Tapper's book. Jake Tapper's book, I believe, is also coming out May the 20th. Yeah. So this title will be, so Jake Tapper has a book coming out called Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. This is the #1 bestseller in the United States of America. It hasn't even come out yet. Jake Tapper's already making millions off of a book that has not yet even come out. James Comey's book is also coming out next week. James Comey sees Jake Tapper and says, WTF? What, that guy's book is coming out my same day. I got to drum up some sales. Let's see. I'm here on the beach. Maybe I'll throw some shells together into a what did he call it? Oh yeah, a cool shell formation. Take a photo of it, cause some faux outrage according to MSNBC, and then that'll get people buying my book. It's not working because right now his book's still not. It's not even any number on the bestseller list. Don't sell books like this. I put a link in the description of this video, by the way. If you want to learn how to sell books, click on subscribe to this channel. It's in the description of this video, Mark Kaye Marketing, and I'll teach you everything. In fact, later today, when we get done here today, I'm going to be doing an after party with the Kayetriot Club, and then I'm going out with my son. We have like a guys' night because my wife and daughter are going to a concert. You don't need to know that. But before I go, I'm going to record a video, and I'm going to post it on this channel, and it's going to be called How Not to Sell Books Online. And it's going to be all about James Comey. So make sure you go to Mark Kaye Marketing and check that out for yourself. Listen, there's a lot more. God, there's so much more we have to get to here. There's some more about Kash Patel. There's some more about what was going on in the Middle East yesterday. Before we do that, though, look at all this. We're getting a lot of love today. I want to thank Jennifer Lawson. Jennifer Lawson dropped a $20 super chat. And she said, thank God it's Friday. Your show is awesome. Jennifer, I appreciate that so much. And, you know, our show is awesome. I'll agree with you on that. And the reason it's awesome is because of people like you that help make it awesome, and people that like you that keep showing up and sharing it and spreading it around. And our numbers are growing every single day. Something really interesting happened, by the way, with all of this Middle Eastern coverage that I'm going to get to. But I did want to say thank you, Jennifer. That's a very generous gift. It's a very generous super chat. We appreciate it, and we will continue to bring you awesome shows, not just on Friday, but every day. If you would like to celebrate, however, today, Friday, payday, we'd love for you to drop a super chat. Write whatever message you want in there. We'll read it. We have another super chat from Christiane Haggerty. Christiane Haggerty writes, "Hi, Mark. Happy Friday." Drops a fiver on us. A 5 note, as they say. Christiane Haggerty, also very generous. Also, we appreciate it. Also, we love Friday. Friday is one of our favorites. I should get the It's Friday thing back. We used to play the It's Friday all the time. Remember? It's Friday. I don't even remember where we got that, but I love it. And we're going to, maybe I'll bring that back. C.A. Smirk. dropped us a $5 super chat. I think you've nailed it on the head. He is drumming up attention for his Bullstoy book. That's correct. That's correct. That reminds me, by the way, I should write a new book. This book was from a year ago. I haven't written a book yet this year. I'm probably gonna. I mean, I got a lot going on, but I should probably. This book was called "Go Trump Yourself," by the way, and you can still get a digital copy of it at gotrumpyourself.com. But I was thinking of writing a new book called "Trump Everything," which I think would be kind of. Let me know if you would read a book called "Trump Everything." Just post it up in the comments. Say, hey, I would read that book. Let me know. Anyway, CA Smirk, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Faith B904 coming in hot with a $5 super chat. It's my husband's payday, so here you go. Love you, Mark. Thank you so much. Remember, Faith B904, if it's your husband's payday, it's also your payday. Because when you get married, two become one. You are one person in the eyes of the Lord and also the IRS. So it's not just your husband's payday. It's your payday. And we got a super chat, or we got a Rumble rant, by the way, which I disappeared. But let me just show you this. This is amazing. We got a Rumble rant from PMLL for $20. Thank you so much, PMLL. We really appreciate that. We appreciate that so much. That's a lot of love over on the Rumble. And like I said, we'll take some more time a little later on today, right before we wrap up. If you would like to send us a super chat on YouTube, a Rumble rant on Rumble, some stars on Facebook, however you want to get my attention, we'll try to get more of those out here in just a minute. Let's talk a little bit about what happened. You know what? Let's talk about Kash Patel first, because Kash Patel he was doing an interview, and there's an interesting thing about this interview. Look who's sitting next to Kash Patel when he's doing this interview. I'll give you a hint. For those of you that aren't watching on our live stream and are listening on the podcast, I'll give you a hint. He's bald, and he used to have a podcast before he left to go work for the FBI.
Look, the FBI is 38,000 when we're fully manned, which we're not. In the National Capital Region, in the 50-mile radius around Washington, D.C., there were 11,000 FBI employees. That's like a third of the workforce. A third of the crime doesn't happen here. So we're taking 1,500 of those folks and moving them out. Every state's getting a plus up. And I think when we do things like that, we inspire folks in America to become intel analysts and agents and say, we want to go work at the FBI because we want to go fight violent crime and we want to get sent out into the country to do it. And that's what we're doing. In the next 3, 6, 9 months, we're going to do that hard. And, you know, I didn't know that I was going to do this, but I'm going to announce it on your show anyway. This FBI is leaving the Hoover building because this building is unsafe for our workforce, and we want the workforce.
You just gave up a big nugget.
We want the American men and women to know, if you're going to come work at the premier law enforcement agency in the world, we're going to give you a building that's commensurate with that. And that's not this place.
Okay, so this is interesting. He dropped a bomb. He said, look, here's the thing. I've not announced this to anybody, but we are leaving the Hoover building. Now, he announced when he was in the contention for the FBI, when he was running before, or when President Donald Trump was running, he said, I want to turn the Hoover building into a museum. I want to make it a museum of the deep state. I want to get out of there. Now he's saying we're leaving the Hoover building because it's just not safe and it's not commensurate with the kind of the fighting force that we have. So he's building a brand new FBI. He wants to build a brand new FBI building. Dan Bongino laughing along with him saying, oh, you just dropped a whopper there. You just let the cat out of the bag big time. I don't know if this is the same project that Donald Trump nixed. They were supposed to move out to PG County, Maryland. And there was going to be a like hundreds of millions of dollar project that I think a lot of people had a problem with because it was announced and it was secured just weeks after the FBI raided President Donald Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago, weeks after the FBI raided his wife's underwear drawer, broke into his personal safe, went through his belongings while he wasn't there, with, by the way, the order to use deadly force if necessary on a former president of the United States of America. Who would give that kind of order? Well, Merrick Garland would. But Donald Trump said, look, Donald Trump said, look, we're not going to build that building. I don't know what building they're talking about. That's all the information we have. But it is a little nugget that the FBI is changing. They're changing locations. They're changing their mission. They're changing their protocols. They're changing how they do business. And much like the military, and I think this is a big part of it. In this day and age, the way you look, the way you sound, the way you act, the things you do, everything is branding. Donald Trump knows that better than anybody. Donald Trump knows that everything is branding. He's got his Trump brand and he puts it on everything. He puts it on buildings and casinos. He puts it on shoes and watches. He puts it on meme coins. He puts it on everything. He's got vineyards, golf clubs, everything Donald Trump. If you see the Trump logo, you know what it stands for. It stands for luxury. It stands for power. It stands for, uncompromising values, all that kind of stuff. And it's the premier experience. That's personal branding. Donald Trump understands the value of that. By the brand that he's created and the brand that he's put forward, he's able to attract millions of people with millions and millions of dollars to his golf courses, to his clubs, to his meme coins, to his watches, to his clothing line, to his hats. Oh, this is my hat. But you get the point. But I have like 5,000 Donald Trump hats, but none of them right now are within range. So anyway, but you know the thing. That's how Donald Trump, that's how he won the election. He personally branded himself into getting 77 million votes. And now that he's looking at his administration, he's looking at things like the FBI. And he goes, I got to brand the FBI as something that is not just not corrupt. I got to anti-Comey-fy it. I got to go in there and get all the Comey stench out. I got to make sure that people realize that the FBI is trustworthy, that the FBI is not an organization that's going to come after parents at PTA meetings. The FBI is not an organization that's going to attack Catholics while they're celebrating Latin Mass. The FBI is not an organization that's going to show up at your home if you were protesting outside the Capitol building on January 6th. That's not what the FBI is anymore. And I need some people that are going to make it that, but then also inspire other people to join. So what does he do? He gets Kash Patel and like the top podcaster in the world at the time, Dan Bongino. And these two guys are not just there to clean up the FBI, but they are there as magnets for new recruits. They are there to attract the next generation of federal Bureau of Investigation agents. They are there just like Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth, everyone was like, Pete Hegseth's too young. Pete Hegseth has no experience. How can Pete Hegseth lead this department? He has no man. He managed a charity and the money was blah, blah, blah. And this is the largest office in the world. And Pete Hegseth can't do it. Pete Hegseth was supposed to run the Department of Defense and also attract new people into the various different armed services. Pete Hegseth was supposed to be the poster boy for the Department of Defense so that anybody on the edge or on the brink or, wavering back and forth about whether or not they were going to sign up for the military, they now look at Pete Hegseth and not Lloyd Austin and they go, wait, that guy's in charge? That G.I. Joe looking motherfather? I'm 100% signing up for the military. That's the dude with the big wavy hair and the muscles and the tats. That guy who just a few years ago was fighting in Iraq and in Afghanistan, that guy who has real world experience. I know him. That's the guy from Fox News. I've watched him. Man, he's in charge. Sign me up. And look at what we have. We have record enlistment. We have record enlistment in the Army, in the Navy, in the Air Force, in the Marine Corps, in the Space Force. Am I missing one? Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Space Force, Coast Guard, all of them. People are rushing, and it's not even, we're at 100% enlistment numbers for the year. Ain't even June yet. Ain't even 6 months in, and we've already reached our enlistment. You don't think that isn't powerful? That's very powerful. China's looking at that. China sees Pete Hegseth and the recruitment numbers, and they're going, oh no, we were this close to being the dominant military force in the world. Now look. They're looking at criminals. They're looking at the FBI. They're looking at Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. They're looking at all these people that are rushing to sign up. Not deep state operatives, not career politicians, real, good-hearted, loyal, American, patriotic people who just want to do good, who want to do right by their fellow citizens, who are now signing up, lining up, and joining the FBI. Because Donald Trump knows the importance of personal branding. That's why he's doing all of this. He understands that you need people in place who are going to A, get the job done, and B, inspire other people to also do the job. I mean, that's why he's picking all these superstars. Judge Jeanine, even Sean Duffy was on Fox News. Now what is he? Department of Transportation. Wow. And they're really they're good at their jobs and they're good at going on television. And I mean, how many people How many young kids do you think are inspired to get into government work now, or run for office, or go to Washington, D.C.? I was on the phone with the White House Communications Department last week. The guy there was like 24. I think they're all 24 in the White House Communications Department because people are excited. It's cool. It's a cool job. It's something they want to do, and they want to serve their country. And Donald Trump did that. Joe Biden didn't do that. That was all Donald Trump. Donald Trump also went to the United Arab Emirates. And man, I posted on TikTok about the United Arab Emirates, and now I have so many people from the United Arab Emirates following me on TikTok. So 2 days ago, I posted about Donald Trump going to the Middle East, and I got like 300,000 views. And I went in to look at the viewers, and I don't know if you can see this or not. Look at this. The location of my viewers. Usually it's like, 90% United States. 63% of the viewers on my TikTok were from Saudi Arabia. So I got a lot of comments. I got a lot of comments in Arabic. I got a lot of names I couldn't pronounce, but I got a lot of viewers from Saudi Arabia. Yesterday, I posted about him being in the UAE. We're at 100,000 views. And I looked again, and guess what? 55% of the viewers on this post were from the United Arab Emirates. I'm telling you, I'm going to be one of the most popular white dudes in the Arab world by the time this is done. It's going to be Donald Trump and me. We're going to have so many viewers in the United Arab Emirates. And if we have anyone from the Arab world, welcome to Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. We appreciate it. But this is exactly the kind of thing that happens when you go on social media, when you're doing Trumpian things, when you have the kind of attractive cabinet and administration, and when you're doing good stuff, the world takes notice. And that's why this trip to the Middle East was amazing. Here's President Donald Trump talking about how amazing really this trip was.
People have said they've never seen anything like's taken place over the last 4 days in terms of investment, in terms of the kind of money coming back into the United States. And all that money, the money is a nice word, but it's really jobs. We have jobs that are at a level that we very soon will not be able to, nobody can duplicate it. And people want to be our partner. They want to be investing in the United States. And they weren't doing that. They weren't happy with the United States for a pretty long period of time. So we've done something that I'm very proud of.
And something that's going to continue to grow now that President Donald Trump has laid the foundation for that. He talked about dealing with the UAE. He talked about how Joe Biden never was able to deal with the UAE, how important it is moving forward.
The people in this room have helped commence between the United States and United Arab Emirates, grow $34 billion a year, America's second highest total in the Middle East, going, but the other one's going up very quickly also. The United States has also put $19.5 billion trade surplus with UAE, and we are really thriving economically. And over the last period of time, we started it 8 years ago, the relationship. Then it was interrupted, as you know, it was sadly interrupted, and not much happened. Nothing happened, actually. But the relationship is now at a much higher level than it ever was, and it's going to only go in one direction because of the relationship. We have American companies. We have Exxon, Oracle, RTX, Qualcomm, and many others, too many to name. Disney. I see the new theme park is going to be incredible. Bob Iger was in my office the other day, and he was showing it to me. It's going to be incredible.
Oh, yeah. Bob Iger is going to build a Disney World. I think it's in Abu Dhabi. It's somewhere in the Arab world. And get this, because it's so ridiculously hot in Abu Dhabi, the entire thing's going to be indoors. Disney's building, I think that's right. I think it's an indoor theme park in Abu Dhabi. And because it's so stifling, here, I live 2 hours from Orlando. We've been to Disney World in Orlando a bajillion times. And when it's 2 hours away, that's something when the kids were young, when we first moved here, it was exciting. This was before they were super woke. This was before we knew all their money was going to grooming. But back in the day, Disney was the place to be. And we were so close that we were there all the time. We'd go there for Christmas. We'd go there after the kids got out of school. We'd go down for the weekend, sometimes even just for the day. And man, the field trips, the kids took field trips there. It was incredible. It's an amazing experience. But in Florida, in the middle of summer, in the middle of a swamp, which is what Orlando is or was before Disney World came along, it's hot. And you're sweating profusely and you're chugging water, and you drop $40 or whatever for one of those fans with the spray bottle to it because you know you're going to pass out. In fact, I think a lot of people do pass out at Disney World, but you don't know it because they have those little crews of people that come and scoop them up and take them away and fix them up and give them some free fast passes so that they don't complain or sue. Anyway, but it's hot. I imagine in the middle of Abu Dhabi, it's even hotter. So if I read it correctly, if I understand correctly, it's going to be it's going to be an indoor theme park, which I mean is genius. It's really, if they could put some kind of glass capsule over the Magic Kingdom and pump in some AC, holy cow. It truly would be the happiest place on earth. Again, despite all the woke DEI grooming stuff that's going on. And then speaking of making America great again, we've got this one big, beautiful bill, which President Donald Trump wants the Republicans to push through. It's not happening as quickly as it's probably not going to happen. I mean, that's a whole issue for Congress. We've talked about Congress ad nauseum, and we will continue to talk about Congress because Congress is basically broken. They're worthless. They don't do anything. They hold nobody accountable. And when something needs to be done, they're not able to do it. Republicans must unite behind the one big beautiful bill, writes President Donald Trump on Truth Social. Not only does it cut taxes for all Americans, but it will kick millions of illegal aliens off of Medicaid to protect it for those who are the ones in real need. The country will suffer greatly without this legislation, with their taxes going to 65%. It will be blamed on the Democrats, but that doesn't help our voters. We don't need grandstanders in the Republican Party. Stop talking and get it done. It is time to fix the mess that Biden and the Democrats gave us. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, that was President Donald Trump posting on Truth Social. I think it was yesterday. This is Ron Estes. I think this is from the Budget Committee talking about the big, beautiful bill earlier today.
Mr. Chairman, this bill, particularly the pro-family, pro-worker, pro-growth provisions, is critical to preventing a massive tax increase for everyday Americans to give our economy a boost, secure our border, and bend the curve on decades of Washington waste, fraud, and abuse spending. I urge my colleagues to support this one big, beautiful bill, and I yield back.
Okay, so there you go. That was Ron Estes. Who else do we have here? There's a lot of, here we go. This is Chuck Edwards on the one big, beautiful bill. This is him talking about it getting a raise for our troops.
Importantly, this package also invests in what truly matters. It gives our troops a raise, it strengthens our national defense, and it secures our border. It reignites economic growth by extending the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, unleashing American energy, and rewarding education that delivers value. This bill delivers on the promises made to working Americans by eliminating tax on tips and overtime, raising the standard deduction, raising the child tax credits.
I'll be honest with you. And he goes on and on and on. He talks about all the great things in the bill. I would be more excited by this if he wasn't reading it. I feel like by reading it, he doesn't really understand. And again, it's all true what he's saying. I just feel like I just like him to speak from the heart is really what here's Representative Arrington talking about listen to this.
Folks, I've said this from the beginning. This reconciliation bill is the principal legislative vehicle for advancing the full America First agenda to realize President Trump's vision and the House Republicans' unwavering commitment to making America safe and prosperous again. How? By making our borders secure again, by making our laws enforced again, by making our government efficient and accountable again, by making the economy free again.
That's the chairman, by the way. He's the chairman of the Budget Committee. Vice Chair Smucker. I love it. Vice Chair Smucker talking about how great the one big, beautiful bill is.
Working families who need it most. And just remember this. When Democrats, if they make good on their word to vote against this bill, they will be voting for a 22% tax hike on average Americans, on every taxpayer. They'll be voting for a reduction in the child tax credit. They'll be voting against an additional $4,000 in tax relief to seniors. They'll be voting for a tax increase on every small business in America. This bill supports Main Street businesses by cutting job-killing regulations, reversing Biden-era overreach, and empowering entrepreneurs to invest, to innovate, and to create jobs here in America. It protects vital safety net programs while demanding accountability, ensuring that taxpayer dollars are used efficiently and responsibly.
Okay, he lost me. I liked it better when, and he was doing really well for a while. He was saying, if the Democrats vote against this bill, here's what they're voting against. They're voting, or here's what the Democrats are voting for. They're voting, the Democrats that oppose this bill, the Democrats who oppose this bill are voting for a 68% tax increase on working Americans. The Democrats who oppose this bill, who vote no, are voting for a reduction in the child tax credit. The Democrats who vote for this bill are voting not to give our fighting men and women a raise. This is all the kind of stuff, this whole negative, throw it back on the Democrats. Guilt the Democrats. Tell the Democrats this is what you're voting for. Go back and ask your voters. Do you want your taxes to go up 68%? Do you want your child tax credit to go down? Do you not want to give the fighting men and women of both parties a raise in the military? What is it you object to? That's how you do it. If you don't vote on this bill, if we don't pass this bill, then you will be held accountable for all of these terrible things. After all of those speeches, the Budget Committee voted. Chip Roy voted with the Democrats. The bill failed to leave. The bill failed to exit committee, and the chairman gavelled them out until Monday morning. So Congress has not advanced President Donald Trump's great, big, beautiful bill the way he asked them to. It's going to be a long road, and the spending feature is one of the. I want to play you this one too, because this is good. This is Representative Stutzman talking about the lies of the Democrats, because I mean that's what if they're not threatening your life, then they're just lying about legislation. Let me just pull this up here real quick, because this is a good clip. Here it is.
And you know, I hear the other side saying that these are tax cuts for the billionaires and the rich. Well, if you go to pages around 759. You got no tax on tips. You know how many people we have in our districts that work hard every weekend? It's maybe a part-time job. They may make $200 a weekend. They don't have to pay taxes on that. That's going to be a huge boost to their family budget. No tax on overtime. Again, we're giving credit to those people who are willing to go out and work the extra hours to make ends meet. No tax on overtime is a tax for the working person in this country. No tax on a car loan interest. I mean, there's a lot of tax cuts for everyday Americans, and the other side just wants to keep talking like it's only for billionaires. I'll guarantee you there's a lot more voters who are everyday Americans than there are billionaires.
Yeah, billionaires don't work on tips last time I checked. I mean, I don't have to talk to Elon Musk about that. Billionaires don't work overtime. I mean, again, I don't talk to Elon Musk, but if I ever did, I'll be like, hey, you're a billionaire. Do you work for tips? Do you work overtime? That's what's at stake. Now, yes, there's a massive spending increase, and there's $4 trillion on the debt ceiling. And a lot of conservative Republicans don't like that. Chip Roy doesn't like it. Thomas Massie doesn't like it. I imagine Rand Paul's going to hate it. Ron Johnson has already come out against it. So the big, beautiful bill is not as easy to pass as President Donald Trump would like it to be. But the real travesty is not that Chip Roy's voting not to pass the budget pass the bill out of the Budget Committee into the floor. The real travesty is that these people keep leaving without doing the work. They gavel out till Friday. The votes were all canceled for today. And the votes were, Mike Johnson, who again is kind of pointless, Mike Johnson canceled the votes today because for two reasons. He wanted these committees to work, and he also realized that, yes, a lot of folks were up earlier this night with the markups, or earlier this week with the markups, and because of that, they were all falling asleep. We get all that. We understand. We saw what was going on. But what they do is they were supposed to go in today and get all these debates done, hash out all of these things so that they could get these bills out of committee. And as a result, move on to the next step. That's not happening. We're going to have to wait through the weekend, through Monday, probably a couple more weeks. And I would be at this point shocked if Congress was able to accomplish anything, period, but definitely anything on the great big beautiful bill before July, which I know is what Donald Trump wants to happen. Listen, we got some more super chats and Rumble rants. C.A. Smirk dropped another $5 and said, no tax on overtime would be huge for my family. Wouldn't it though? How many people you know working overtime that are taxed? How many people you know working overtime that could use a little break, a little extra, a little something? I know a bunch of people do. This is Barbie Guile on Rumble, who sent us a $5 Rumble rant and said, awesome job, Mark. Us. I think that's US. Thank you, Barbie. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you. Dean Himes dropped a $10 Rumble rant and said, Trump everything. I guess that's a vote for me writing a book called Trump Everything. Keep preaching, Mark. I love your show. Riggs4 with a $10 Rumble rant. Riggs4, thank you so much. I appreciate that greatly. That is very, very generous. And then, somebody made that's a secret. That's not, I can't read you this particular comment, but I appreciate it. And that's coming. That information's coming soon. You guys found my secret website. There's no hiding from the Kayetriots. You Kayetriots, you should all go work for the FBI because you guys are some investigative people. I can start working on something, think that it's secret, not promote it, but no, somebody finds out about it. And they like, oh, look at this. And it's very difficult to keep you guys are on it. But yes, there's a secret website out there that is not 100% ready for prime time, but some people have already found it and you started utilizing it. And I do appreciate that very much. More details on that, hopefully next week. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks so much for dipping in and hanging out and listening to the podcast and watching the live stream. And if you want a little bit more, we got a little bit more. We're going to go to the Kayetriot Club here in just a minute. Go to Kayetriots.com. Join us for the after party, which, like I said, is coming up here in just a minute. And if you're interested in learning how not to be like James Comey, if you're interested in learning how you too can write books for an audience and sell books to an audience and use social media to promote whatever it is you want to promote, if you want to create a podcast, listen, I've got a brand new YouTube channel, Mark K Marketing, and the link is also in the bio. You can check that out and you can learn about that all for yourself. Oh, I almost forgot, by the way. I almost forgot. Speaking of links in bio, our good friends over at Colonial Metals Group offering you your free 2025 gold guide. Paul Stone, who I've reached out, we're going to try to get him back on the show super quick. Paul Stone, another guy who understands the value of social media marketing, another guy who understands the value of building a fantastic brand. Colonial Metals Group is the premier brand when it comes to investing in precious metal IRAs and financial securities. You can secure your financial future with gold, and you can get a free gold guide just by filling out the information at freegoldguide.com/KAYE. Great info about protect. And this is free info, by the way. You can learn this all right away. And then if you're like, that sounds great, I want to do that, you just call Colonial Metals Group and they're going to hook you up. They're going to take great care of you. They're good people. They're honest people. They're patriots. And they're offering, get this, up to $7,500 in free bonus silver sent to your home or stored in a secure vault of your choosing on qualifying new accounts, which is a phenomenal deal. Freegoldguide.com/KAYE is the address. Freegoldguide.com/KAYE if you would like to take part in that. In the meantime, listen, thank you again for being here. Thanks so much for being part of the show. Thank you to all of our Rumble ranters. Thank you to all of our super chatters. Thanks to everybody who watched and subscribed and liked and shared. Don't forget, we will be back Monday because there's more to talk about. There's more to discuss. There's more to do. There's so much more of the Republic that has to be saved. It's a never-ending battle. It continues to rage. There are more and more problems that we face on the daily. There are more and more enemies popping up on the daily. And we all need to do whatever we can. We need to stay informed, enlightened, entertained. We need to keep each other's spirits up. We need to stay sharp So we'll be ready for any battle, anywhere, anytime, against anybody. That's the only way that we can continue to save the republic. Have a fantastic weekend. After party begins in 3 minutes.